And now, right to your host of this House of Musicians, Barry Smith.
Hi, fine listeners. Welcome to this House of Musicians radio show right here on Reality Radio 101. We hope you enjoy the next hour with us as we do our small part to help promote musicians, bands, and venues. Gary LaBar, how are you this evening, sir?
I'm fine and so excited about our guest.
Absolutely. Canadian icon, absolute sweetheart, so successful in the music industry. Of course, I'm talking about Shirley EIKHARD, and what can I say? She's 1973 Juno Award-winning Best Country Female Artist, 1974 Juno Award winner, Best Country Female Artist, 1992 nominee, Juno Award Songwriter of the Year. Shirley has... Of course, she wrote the huge hit, Something to Talk About, that Bonnie Raitt recorded in 1991 on her album Luck of the Draw. Just what an amazing career Shirley's had. Of course, we're going to talk about her writing with Cher. She wrote a song that Anne Murray recorded in 1971. Just an amazing, very amazing Canadian icon. Please help me welcome Shirley EIKHARD. Shirley, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great, Barry. I'm just really happy to be here.
Well, we're very excited to have you, Shirley. We know that you are, like I say, a Canadian icon, and we're very proud of what you've accomplished as a Canadian right here with us. So we appreciate you talking to me for an hour. We appreciate you being on the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. We have so much to talk about. But first, I want to start out by asking you how you were influenced by music when you were growing up. I know your mom was a fantastic fiddle player, but I just want to hear how you were influenced by music and what you were listening to when you were young.
Yeah, because I was around music all the time. It was a natural instinct to pick up an instrument because my mom played incredible fiddle, and my dad was a bass player, and my brother played bass and also was a singer. So it was a very musical family. And through osmosis, just my parents would play in clubs and things, and I would be able to sit in the restaurant part and listen to the music. And so I picked up a guitar at 11 and started writing songs. And then in 1969, at the Mariposa Folk Festival, I auditioned for the New Songwriters. They had a concert in the afternoon, and that weekend changed my life because Joni Mitchell was there, Ian and Sylvia was there, Bruce Cockburn was there, and I got to see these people perform for the first time, real up close and live. And when I saw the effect that they were having on the audience, and just the wonderful positive feeling that their music was I thought, I want to do this. I want to write songs, and I want to. And so that weekend really changed my life to make me want to do it as a career.
Absolutely. New Songwriters Workshop, 1969, Mariposa Folk Festival in Toronto. Just absolutely, you were so young.
I was 14.
14, and then when you were 15, you wrote a song, It Takes Time, 15 years old, which was recorded by Anne Murray and became a hit in Canada. Tell me how that all came to be. That's just amazing.
My parents had been playing in Prince Edward Island at this club down there. I think it was the Prince Edward Lounge. Johnny Reed's place down there in Charlottetown. And anyway, the Sing-Along Jubilee people would come over for the summer and vacation there. And I got up and sang at one of the parties after my parents had stopped playing for the evening. And Karen Oxley was there, and she... who was one of the mainstays of Sing-Along Jubilee, she heard me sing and she said, send me a tape. So I sent her a tape. She played it for Manny Pitson, who was the producer of the show. And the next thing you know, I've got a guest spot on Sing-Along Jubilee. And then
Amazing.
Anne heard It Takes Time through Manny. And the next thing you know, I'm getting a phone call from Capitol Records saying, Anne has just recorded your song. And here I am, like 15, 16 years old, with Anne Murray, who had just come off Snowbird. And
Yeah.
I was just, I mean, it was for a teenager to have that happen to her. You know what I mean? It was just unbelievable. So I got to meet Anne, and we actually sang on the show together and stuff. So that was wonderful.
Absolutely. And then, of course, you're hearing the song on the radio. How cool is that?
Oh yeah, that was really, when I would drive around Toronto and with my parents, and I would hear the song, and it would be like, oh my God, yeah.
Can you imagine how proud your parents would have been with you at that age? And then Anne Murray has recorded one of your songs.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It really was knocking it out of the park.
Absolutely.
Like,
good for you. Good for you.
Then,
That's what an accomplishment at such a young age. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, Anne turned out to be a really nice lady, and because I got to work with her and on a couple of her specials and stuff, and just a really great gal.
Yeah. So now, just a year after that, you'd be 16, I think. By now, you released your first debut album.
That's right, on Capitol Records, and I had a huge hit with a Sylvia Tyson song called "Smiling Wine," which. Even into the 90s and 2000s, when I would play live, people would go, "Smiling Wine, Shirley."
Yeah.
So people remembered it. So yeah.
Good for you. No, that's such an accomplishment at such a young age. But I mean, like, your accolades go way farther than that as we move along here during the show. I just want to ask you, the first time you came out on stage and played for somebody live, how that feeling was, and was that on the TV show, or were you doing shows before that?
Actually, I remember Coburg, Ontario. I think I was about 12 at the time, and that would probably be my first on stage appearance in front of like an audience. And I remember singing Gordon Lightfoot's "Early Morning Rain" and "Ode to Billy Joe."
Yep.
So
amazing.
Those were the two songs. Yeah.
Great. And then moving forward, you also recorded "Say You Love Me," which was, of course, a huge hit by Fleetwood Mac, but you released it as a single several weeks in advance of Fleetwood Mac in June of 1976, and you took the song into the Canadian Top 40, peaking at number 34. Man, tell me about that.
Yeah, and that was I'd heard the record in a record store, and I took it to my my record company at the time, and I said, because we were still looking for a couple of songs to fill out the album, and I said, what about this song? And so the producer that came in to work on it, he changed a lot of the arrangement to the song, and then what happened was I was going to have the U.S. release as well. And the producer of the song played it for Stevie Nicks, and she played it for the band, and they said, hey, we weren't going to release ours as a single, but if we spruce our song up, she thought that it would really work the song. So that's what happened. They scooped me, even though it was their song in the first place.
that is just amazing. And of course, their version was released a few weeks after yours, and it peaked at number 29 in September. So that was some great competition going on there, but you did really well with it as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I love Fleetwood Mac. I think they're wonderful. So, yeah.
Yes, what a great band. Absolutely. My wife and I saw them live, and they were amazing.
Oh, their harmonies, the three of them, oh, my God. Yeah.
Great band for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to ask you about, let's talk about something to talk about. This is a song that you wrote. It was recorded by Bonnie Raitt, and of course to significant success in the 90s. It was on her 1991 album, Luck of the Draw, and it was just a huge hit. Now, you wrote this song. I'm just curious to how it got to Bonnie Raitt. Yeah, how did she get a hold of it?
Well, in 1985, I went to Nashville on a songwriting sojourn. I just wanted to get down there and write song after song after song. And in 6 weeks of being in Nashville, I wrote 16 songs, either by myself or co-wrote. And then right before I came back to Canada, I thought because I'd gotten a song on hold for the Pointer Sisters, and I'd heard a rumor that the producer of the Pointer Sisters was going to be doing Tina Turner, and I was such a fan of Tina Turner that I thought, oh, I've got to try to write a song for her, because I'd already got the in with the Pointer Sisters producer. So I thought, I've got to write a song and get it to him so that he can play it for Tina. Well, as we know, it didn't happen. But the thing is, the song, I demoed the song up and played it for some people in Nashville. And Jody Williams, who was at Tree Music at that time, he heard the song and went, Shirley, I love this song. I'm going to try to get you a cut. And he played for the Judds, and he played it for a lot of artists in Nashville, but they just didn't hear it. And so 6 years go by, and then a friend of mine, Lynn, who was moving to Los Angeles, she took a demo of the song to Danny Goldberg, who was Alana Miles's manager, and also Bonnie Raitt's manager. And so Bonnie didn't know who I was, but she knew who Alana was. So she said, well, I like Alana's music. I think I've never heard of this songwriter before, but I'll try her song. And she heard 3 songs I'd put on a demo, and Something to Talk About was one of them. And so the next thing you know, she's recorded it, unbeknownst to me. Like, I'm living in a farmhouse in Harriston, Ontario.
Wow.
and in snowstorms, and it's just crazy. And I get home one night from dinner, and she's on my answering machine singing the song in the studio where they were recording it. So that's how it happened. It was just this friend took it to her manager, and the next thing you know, boom.
And Bonnie Raitt called you and left a message on your machine singing the song?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. She said, hey, Shirley, this is Bonnie Raitt. And then she put the telephone up to the speaker. She said, listen to this. And it was like Something to Talk About. And I was like, whoa. Oh, man.
Holy smokes.
Oh, yeah. It was crazy. And so then it was about another 6 months before the record actually came out. So I kept pinching myself, because you know how I've had this happen so many times in show business where, you're promised, you're going to have a cut. You're going to have a cut. Like the Pointer Sisters thing. I was supposed to have a cut right up until the last minute, and then they dropped the song. So I thought, oh boy, I hope that they don't drop the song with Bonnie Raitt. So we got to the point where they actually sent me the record. There it was, and I thought, okay, I'm on the record. Oh,
that is so incredible. I mean, what a Canadian songwriter writing songs, and here you are on the album on Bonnie Raitt's Luck of the Draw. It's just incredible. So now I saw you hanging out with Bonnie Raitt. I've seen some pictures of you and her. Let's talk about, which is close to the title of the song. Let's talk about how you hooked up with her and were hanging out with her.
Yeah. Well, every time she would come to Canada, since the early 2000s, she called me up and she said, we've got tickets for the show if you want to come. And I would just show up, and then all of a sudden I would get her tour manager would come to me and say, do you want to sing with Bonnie? And I went, wow, okay. And so they basically, we would sing Something to Talk About that at the end of the show, and she would get me up with her. And so I've done it 3 times now, and I just,
wow,
wonderful.
That is so great. What a great lady.
Oh, she's a great lady. And I love her convictions, and I love her sense of the world. She's just a really intelligent thinker, and I couldn't ask for a better, ambassador for my song.
No kidding. Just such a sweetheart she is. But I just want to ask you, before we move forward, about you wrote, again, Something to Talk About. What was that song about? How old were you when you wrote it, and what did you write it about?
Okay, I'm in Nashville, and so I'm at the end of the 6-week songwriting sojourn thing down there where I've written all these songs. And so I had heard that Tina Turner was looking for songs, and the producer of the Pointer Sisters was who I had a song on hold with. So there was a door open there, and I thought, well, gee, surely that's 1 degree of separation from Tina Turner. And so I sat down, and I can see it like yesterday, Barry. It was like 11 o'clock at night. There was I was staying in Colleen Peterson's house. We had swapped apartments. She came up to Canada, and I went down to Nashville and lived in her apartment for 6 weeks, and she did the same with me. And so it was 11 o'clock at night on February 3rd, 1985, and there was snow on the ground, which was unheard of in Nashville at that time. And I this song, and I thought, now I got to get a song. If you think about something to talk about, how it's like da 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 da, ba da da da, right?
Yep.
The song, if you think about like what's that song that Tina did? Like it's got one of the grooves of like a song like what Tina Turner would do. And so when I originally wrote it, I wrote it up tempo, way more up tempo than it ended up being.
Oh, okay.
And so I just did this little demo in Nashville at Steve Thompson's demo studio, and with me playing all the instruments on it, and putting BGs on and all that kind of thing. Because that's one of the things that I do. I do multi musical things like, bass drums, all those things, and all the BGs at home. And so anyway, I put that together, and it was Lynn's idea. She to slow it down, like, because I had it up tempo for like Tina Turner. Let's give them something to talk about, like really up. And
right.
And so then Lynn said, Shirley, the song could be real sexy if you slow it down. And that's what Bonnie did. And so I did another version, and that's the version that Bonnie heard.
Well, so that's just so amazing that could happen. So good for you. Good for you with that song.
Man. Oh, and here's the thing. She heard the up-tempo version first and liked the song. And then when Lynn took over, because Bonnie couldn't find the demo when they went into to the studio to play it for the band, she said, can you get that publisher to bring that song over? And so she brought over the slower version, and Bonnie says, that's the one we should be doing. So there's a gift, an accident, right? That she'd heard the up-tempo version and was going to do that, but then she heard the slower, and that's the one that went on to infamy. So,
yeah, no kidding. What a famous song that'll be around forever. Good for you. Let's do this now. I want to talk about your new album that you just recorded. We'll talk about that, but first of all, let's play a song off the album. We'll come back and talk about the song, and we'll talk about your new album.
Sure.
Okay, let's do that. Folks, I have Shirley EIKHARD on the show this evening, Canadian icon, songwriter, singer-songwriter. We're going to listen to one of her songs right now from her new album, which we're going to come back and talk about. This song is called Anything Is Possible, and there's just a lovely story behind why she wrote the song, and I want you all to hear it. We're going to talk about that as soon as we come back. Again, here is Shirley EIKHARD's song from her new album, Anything Is Possible, on this House of Musicians radio show right here on Reality Radio 101.
All my senses are heightened. It's like being enlightened. I refuse to be frightened. Anything is possible. From a grim diagnosis to the edge of psychosis, I'm refining my focus. Anything is possible. Prepare for the worst, but hope for the best. A crisis of balance, and this is my test. There are exceptions, and I plan to be one in a million. You just watch me. You just watch me. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. the day. You cannot deny it or wish it away. All I can trust is the way that I feel, the only perspective I know to be real. How good do I feel? How good do I feel? Anything is possible. I am constantly purging. A new life is emerging. With my energy surging, anything is possible. The one goal worth achieving. While I'm living and breathing, I will not stop believing. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. Anything is possible.
Hey, welcome back, folks. We have Shirley Eichhardt on the show this evening, and what a fantastic career she's had. We just heard one of her songs called Anything is Possible. Now, Shirley, you briefly told me what this song was about, and I want you to tell everybody what the song is about and how inspiring it is.
Well, so we're now in February of 2022. In January of 2020, I was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer, and it had metastasized to my bones. So I had bone cancer as well, and basically at the hospital, they were not hopeful. They were, they said you should get your will in order and everything like that. And I was just in shock. Like, I was like, what? And how this had happened is I'd fallen on ice. We had an ice storm out here where I live in the country. And I'd fallen on ice and gone into the hospital, my local hospital, and the back wasn't healing. Like, even though I thought I was okay after the fall, they said, well, you should be getting better by now. And then they did a CT scan on me, and that's when they found the lesions on the spine and everything. So then I went to Sunnybrook in Toronto, and some incredible doctors there dealt with me. And even though the prognosis was terrible, there was a wonderful doctor there, Dr. Leon, who said, we're going to do radiation on you. And so 5 days of radiation on my spine, and then I went into months of chemo, and just, even though everything sounded so dark, I'm one of those people in life that goes, well, I'm still here. I'm still able to move. And so I didn't see it as a death sentence, even though everybody around me was saying, oh, it's curtains, So anyway, so I went through months of chemo and kept walking. I love to walk, and I slowly got my back. Like, when I was first in the hospital, my back was in such bad shape. I had fractures in my spine, and it was just falling apart. But I slowly, with the help of the doctors and everything, and I changed a lot of things, Barry, about my habits. Like, I don't drink alcohol at all now, not a sip. And processed foods with sugar, I don't do. I try to avoid at all costs. And exercise and staying stress-free. That is one of the key ingredients. And then also laughing every day, like watching comedies and stuff, and just finding especially when COVID just started at the same time when my diagnosis happened, it was hard to laugh. So,
yeah.
I know it's been hard for millions of people, and across the country and in the world. So, it's just finding something that can, you can focus on, that's meaningful. And so that's when I started writing these songs, because I thought, well, I'm a musician and a songwriter. I've got to do something since I'm going to be stuck at home. And I've got to heal my bones and everything from the radiation and all that. And so I started writing these songs, like Anything Is Possible. And there's another song on the album called I guess it's a kind of a dream, My Final Chapter.
Well,
yeah, but actually, you know, the way I see it is like, well, my final chapter could be 20 years long. So
it could be.
You see, and that's how I get through this, is I think the positive way. You know, the glass is either half full or half empty, and I think it's half full, you know, and so slowly through the months for the last 2 years and plus, I've walked and I've done exercising and I've got incredible army of friends that have been so supportive and there for me, because I actually lost my license. I couldn't drive because of it went to my brain at one point, the cancer.
Wow.
And apparently that's a common thing that happens from breast cancer. It travels to your brain. And so then I had to have radiation again, twice now. But today, and this is ironic that we are talking just today, because I just saw two of my doctors, talk to them, and the CT scans and everything is looking great. They said you're doing really well. So I'm very hopeful now to keep going forward. And my attitude is I want to beat this thing. I want it to be gone, you know. And so that's one of the reasons I changed my diet, everything, like just no more processed foods and no alcohol whatsoever. And it seems to be working.
Well, what an inspiration. I mean, and like you say, you're still going 2 years later.
Yeah. And I was given, I think it was 3 to 6 months, they said. And here I am, still here, still walking. And I feel, and one of the things in that song, Anything Is Possible, is all I can trust is the way that I feel, right? How good do I feel? And and I want to say this to anybody that's listening out there that may be going through this as well, if you have gone through this and if you feel good, then that's all you can hope for. You know, if you can get up and walk around and feel good, just keep going. And it's a long journey. I mean, this has been over 2 years now, but if you had seen me 2 years ago, I couldn't even get out of the bed. My bones were all like fractured and everything.
Jeez.
And from the fall on the ice, and it's because of the cancer, because the cancer was eating away. And but these doctors, I've had incredible doctors that have, you know, they've prescribed the right things. I mean, the chemo's hard on you, but as one of my nurses said to me, she said sometimes you have to burn the whole village down to get the cancer, and that's what
right.
That's what chemo kind. And you know, it's funny, Lance Armstrong, I remember him saying, you know, because he had a bout with cancer as well, and he said one day we will look back in the future and we'll go, can you believe we do this to our bodies? You know, but it works. The therapies with the chemo, it's not a death sentence anymore. You know, you can if you adhere to everything and have good doctors around you, I believe you can make it.
Positive attitude, change your diet, walk, just exactly what you were telling everybody. And if anybody else is in these same shoes, have a positive attitude, don't give up, and just like what you're doing, and change your diet, walk all the time, and presto. I mean, just think, you wouldn't have this album if things happened the way the doctors thought they were going to happen, but look at you go.
Oh, I know. And the other thing, Barry, which was a real challenge for me at times because of the pain in my back. And as we know with the singing, you know, the diaphragm is very important for singing. And so I had to re-record my vocals sometimes a lot because it wasn't strong enough. And so when you listen to the whole album now, for me, it's a real accomplishment because I know how hard it was to get those vocals. And now I can sing full out now, and my voice is almost back to where it was.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Good for you. That's absolutely amazing. And folks, please get out there and purchase Shirley's album. You can find her anywhere online. Shirley EIKHARD. You can find her anywhere online. What an inspiring story. Shirley, I want to read you an email from Doug Robertson. Doug Robertson has a band called Roller Coaster here in Durham region, and he writes this email to you that says, "Hey Barry, this is going to be good. I have been a huge fan of Shirley's since way back. I simply love all her music. Just to have some of her songs covered by the likes of Anne Murray and Bonnie Raitt. She has certainly left a footprint in the Oshawa music scene. Her whole family is so talented. As a matter of fact, I played in a couple of bands with her brother, Brent, another fine musician, and I also worked with him at Robinson Solutions. I still like to look Shirley up and see how things are going. I have sorry, I'm just going blind here. I'm getting old. I have most, if not all of her music, and so proud that she's not only Canadian, but made her mark in Oshawa. Thank you, Shirley. That's from Doug Robertson, Roller Coaster.
That is a very, very sweet email. Thank you. If he's listening, thank you, Doug. Wow.
Yeah, so Doug's an avid fan of the show, and also we're an avid fans of his band Roller Coaster. So they just did a gig not too long ago, and they're just an amazing band to go see. Shirley, I want to talk about Cher for a bit, because I know you spent some time at Cher's house, and you spent some time with Cher. Here, another amazing accolade right here. You recorded. You wrote a song called "Born with Hunger," and it was recorded by Cher for her non-commercial album. She sang the theme song to the movie "The Passion of Anne Rad." "Love Is, Love Is Not, Lovers Forever," a song she originally wrote, which you originally wrote with Cher for the 1990 film Interview with a Vampire. It's also featured on Cher's 2000 studio album, Closer to the Truth. Holy smoke, Shirley. Tell me all about that. Wow.
Yeah. Well, I had been sending songs, because I'm a huge fan of Cher. And so I had been sending songs to her manager, at the time, Bill Samus was her manager. And he called me because he said, "I want you to know that Cher really likes your songs, but she wants more, and he would describe what she was looking for." So I sent "Born with the Hunger" down to her, because she actually sang something to talk about on stage at times, and so she was a real fan. And so she, I sent down "Born with the Hunger," and actually, I've got to take us back, Barry.
Yes, take us back. There's amazing story, Shirley.
Yeah, I'm jumping ahead of the story here. What happened was, in 1994, she was in New York with Chaz Palminteri, the actor.
Yeah.
Anyway, she was in a movie with him, and she was doing the movie in New York. So she was down there recording demos of songs that she had co-written with people. So anyway, Bill Samus phoned me and said, "Do you want to fly down and write some songs with Cher?" And so I said, "Oh, yeah." And so it was the next day. I went down to New York and spent 3 days in New York at the hotel, and we worked on songs. And I could not believe her work ethic. She worked for hours on that movie and then would go to the studio every night and work. And that's the discipline that Cher had. And she sang, and then I played her one of my songs and it was "Born with the Hunger." I played her "Born with the Hunger," and she went, "Oh my God, I love that song. I'm going to record it." And so the next night we went into the studio, and with her musicians, and she sang the song full out at 4 a.m. after having been up for like 24 hours or whatever, and full out, pitch perfect, emotion like galore. And I was like, and I got to sing the Bee Gees on the back with her. And I mean,
wow.
I'm looking at Cher, who I'd grown up listening to Sonny and Cher, right? And here I'm Sonny, because I got to sing the Bee Gees with her. Like her and I did the Bee Gees. And so anyway, so she did that, and then she flew back to Los Angeles to Malibu. And so then the Interview with the Vampire, I'm obsessed with all those things. Like I was into all those horror movies like way back. And so, and vampire films. And so anyway, I had started a song about vampires, and I played it for her, and I said, I can't finish the second verse. Can you help me with it? And so she said, okay, why don't you fly out to Malibu? So I flew out for 3 days, and we worked on it. And so then she listened to the song in its entirety, and she went, okay. And then so time goes on, and I ended up doing a version of it on my record back in 2005. And then and one thing about Cher, she really keeps her word, because she had said to me, Born with the Hunger and the Vampire song, she said, I will record those. I will record them. At some point in my future, I will record those. And sure enough, in 2013, Born with the Hunger was on her not commercial album back in 2000. But then 2013, 13 years later, she records an album and puts Lovers Forever on that record, the Vampire song that we'd written.
Amazing.
So she kept her word, and I mean, I have nothing but great things to say about Cher. She's a great lady, and very politically up to speed on everything, and I respect where she's coming from. Like she's very articulate on all those things. So
for 8 years, she held on to 2 of your songs, and then, as promised, she recorded them. That's just incredible.
Yeah, and so there you go. And she's a woman of her word. Yep. And
didn't you spend time at her house too during all this?
Yes, I did.
That's amazing.
Oh yeah, and she was like, she would go out to dinner or whatever, and actually she's, I don't know, you know the show Absolutely Fabulous?
Yeah.
Jennifer Saunders. I had never heard of the show before, and so she was going out to dinner one night, and she said, "You know, if you're bored, like, why don't you put some of these in? These are really funny." And I put them in. I'd never seen it before. I was howling at every. I mean, Jennifer Saunders is a genius, and so there you go. Cher had all the abs before they even hit, big time in North America. But yeah, that was. I loved that, being able to see AbFab. Yeah.
Absolutely. And what a time you've had. Holy smokes. Throughout your career. Let's play another song off your new album. And then I want to come back and talk about your Juno Awards, because that's just an amazing accolade to have 2 Juno Awards to your credit. That's just incredible. I want to talk about those, but let's play your song On My Way to You off of your new album, which is also called On My Way to You, this title track, correct?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Awesome. Folks, I have the amazing Shirley EIKHARD on the show this evening, and we're going to hear her song On My Way to You off of her album, 2021 album that released at the same title album. The album's called On My Way to You, I'm Sorry, and this is her title track right here on this House of Musicians radio show on Reality Radio 101.
Souls were stirring, lines were blurring between life and death. One final breath, and I was on my way to you. Suddenly flying, without even trying, I could hear a hymn. As the world grew dim, I was on my way to you. Higher and higher, the wings of desire carried me through the heavens. Over and over, I heard you whispering my name. On my way to you. image appearing, I could see your face in a state of grace. I was on my way to you, flashing before me the grief and the glory, yet I felt no pain, only love remained. I was on my way to you. Is this really happening? How long have I waited to be as close as this? Frozen forever, lost in a never-ending kiss. On my way to you. On my way to you. On my way to you. Why am I falling? Strangers are calling. I don't want to go back to earth below. I was on my way to you. Souls are stirring, lines are blurring between life and death. As I catch my breath, I was on my way to you. I was on my way to you. I was on my way to you.
Hi, folks. As Gary says, welcome back to this House of Musicians radio show. We have the amazing Shirley EIKHARD on the show this evening, and she has a new album out. Of course, the album is called On My Way to You. We just heard the title track. Shirley, tell me about the title track of this song.
Well, it's funny because when you listen to the lyrics and then you think of Anything is Possible, and there's about three other songs that the theme. I wrote this song 2 years ago, On My Way to You, and little knowing that I was going to get the diagnosis that I got. And the song is all about, it's a bizarre song, it's all about a person almost dying on the table at the hospital, and they go to heaven technically, and their beloved is up there, and they almost get to them, and then they're pulled back. And
Amazing.
So the doctors, bring them back to life. So, and I had no inkling where I'm. So there, it was like the theme of this record has got the life death juxtaposition. So that's where the song came from. But I had no idea. I just, when you're writing songs, you follow what the song tells you to do as opposed to trying to guide it. And so I thought, okay, I've got to follow this idea right through to the end. And then when I got my diagnosis, it was like, this album is going to be very dark. So, that's where the song came from.
Yeah, and it's almost like it was meant to be beforehand. You didn't know, and then you found out, and it was like, it's amazing how sometimes things work out like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So
I find with music that music does tend to put you in that place where you become very intuitive, even though you don't know at the time what you're writing about. So, yeah.
Agreed. That's happened to me as well. Shirley,
okay.
Absolutely amazing 1973 Juno Award, Best Country Female Artist. Tell me about when you found out that you were nominated, and tell me about the night you were presented the award.
Oh yeah, I think that Myrna Lory was there, and Jeanette Renaud, and Anne. I think Anne won for the overall female vocalist, I think, but I got the country one, and because I'd done this album in Nashville and Los Angeles, but it was primarily, I would say, like a country album, and so the song Smiling Wine, which Sylvia Tyson had written, I'd always loved her songwriting, and so I did her song, and it became a single, and it was a big chart topper, I think, in Canada at least. So yeah, I was really shocked when I won the award.
I bet. And going out to receive it, were you nervous? How was that?
Oh yeah, because see, as a kid, I always wanted to be an artist. Because I'm a very shy person, and so music was not, even though I grew up with music, I always wanted to be a painter. And so once the music thing happened at like 12 and 13, that took over. But so I was so shy that to be up in front of all these people like Burton Cummings and all these people, it was like, whoa, Paul Anka. So it was kind of like an out of body experience.
Wow.
To be so young and winning an award and looking out at all these big stars that were there.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Good for you. And did you feel the same way in '74 when you won it again?
I know.
Yeah, that's great.
Take two.
Yeah, take two. That's fabulous.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was just, you look back on those, like I'm in my 60s now, and I look back on those days and I just go, I lived through all of that.
That's amazing. Do you have the Junos on your mantle at home?
No, you know what? They're in a box in the basement.
Okay, we're not gonna. We might edit that out of the show. Just kidding.
Will you?
No,
okay.
No, just kidding. There you go.
Okay. I remember Joni Mitchell saying, she said that sometimes winning awards can be like a roadblock to your growth, and so that's why I won them, and but then I put them away because I thought if I just focus on those, I'll be stuck there, and so
yep.
You just keep going, right? You just keep moving on to the next song, the next whatever, yeah.
No, agreed. Yeah, you don't want to, be all dazzled about Juno Awards, and then, like you say, you're stuck in one spot because you think there's nothing greater to do, maybe.
Exactly, Barry. Exactly. Yeah.
So good for you. Well, congratulations on winning those. That's quite an accomplishment as well.
Oh, thank you.
Are you doing any live shows, or when was the last time you did something live?
Oh, man, I think the last time was being on stage with Bonnie. That would be 2017. 2017.
Okay, so we're going to say you're kind of retired, but you're still recording albums. You're not going to plan on touring?
No, I'm not. I don't plan on touring. No, and one of the reasons, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are going through the same thing. Is like I'm 66 and I'm getting arthritis in my hands, so it's hard for me to play now. That doesn't mean I can sing. I can still sing. So I guess if I had a band play my songs, and then which is what I did when I did my jazz. I did a couple of jazz albums back at 1998 and 1999, and it was such a relief, Barry, to be just the singer, and I had incredible musicians with me, and it would be fun for me because I'd be the audience on stage listening to these guys play incredible music. So I guess I could do that, So
sure,
what?
Absolutely.
Never say never, right?
Never say never, as we know from your experience and what you've been going through. Never say never. Exactly.
There's words for me to listen to. Yeah.
Hey, that could be a new song. Never say never.
There you go.
There you go. Shirley, tell me before we go, a crazy story. I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit here. Something crazy that's happened to you, maybe a highlight in your life in the music industry, or something crazy on a tour, bus, an airplane, on stage, but something you can think of I love to ask artists this question. We've had some pretty crazy stories. So something that stands out to you as far as being in the music business goes.
Okay. Well, I did some Army tours with the Canadian Armed Forces, and we would go to the Arctic. I think I was on 4 tours that went to the Arctic, and then
Wow.
overseas as well to Cyprus and Israel and Syria and all those places. But anyway, so the thing that comes to mind is we were flying in Herculeses, the army,
Wow.
the great big army planes, and so we were all sitting in the back, and all of a sudden the plane would just go a little down and up and down, and so. And basically, it was we were flying in and into, I forget which place we were going, but anyway, I think that one of they were letting 1 or 2 of us up there, and they had, the co-pilot was there, so he was manning the thing and he could take over at any time, but he allowed us to just touch the lever a little, and so every time the plane would go, it was one of us doing it, and so then I got up there and I was terrified, and I tried it once and I said, no, I can't do it again. So that was an experience that I'll never forget. It was incredible. And nobody was it was very safe because nobody was, we weren't flying into a danger zone or anything, but it was. But it was quite the
And such a big plane.
Oh man, yeah. Well, it was one of those planes where they could put, I think even a Jeep could go in the back. I think of that one. At the Hercules, yeah. But boy, I have a lot of respect for the guys that fly those things, because it's very, very sensitive. That all the gadgets in the cockpit. Yeah.
No kidding, eh? Well, cahoots to our army, that's for sure, and to our armed forces and everybody that's involved. We always respect what they do, and cahoots and hats off to all of our military. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, and that was, oh my God, that was like 30 years ago. So, oh my God.
Oh, no kidding. Time goes by pretty quick, doesn't it, Shirley?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Shirley, before I go, there's a little segment of the show I like to do. Gary Labar, our producer, is also an amazing musician, has had #1 hits, been in #1 bands, and he's a like I say, a fabulous musician. But I'm glad to be doing the show with him because he has a lot of experience in this field as well. But before I go, I like to do a segment called, Well, Gary Labar, what do you think?
Well, first I'll send you that money I promised you. Thank you, Barry. No. You know what? Incredible. Anything is possible. That song, if you listen to the lyrics, man, does it hit home to so many people. And I love the way, Shirley, that you did the unison with the octaves on the vocals.
Thank you.
Yeah, and the percussion stuff in there, at the clicks and all the different percussion on the overdubs and stuff coming in, man, it was put together very, very, very well. And it really, just remember, what's more important than your songs is your health. And, when you think about it, this particular song that you wrote is going to touch home to a lot of people, as I say, because everybody is going through something. And you could take, right, and more serious things than others. But a beautiful song. I wish you the best. I hope you continue to get well. And, we're pulling for you. So thanks for being on the show.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Shirley, we're 100% on your side. We want you to get well, as Gary says. Be great, as you always have been throughout your career. We absolutely adore you. We love you. You're a huge Canadian icon in the music industry. It's been an absolute honor to have you on the show. And you know what? We're going to keep following your progress. And hopefully down the road, a year or two, we can get you back on the show. I would love to do that.
That would, okay. Okay, it's a date. Okay.
It definitely will be a date. What an honor to have you on the show. Thank you for being here.
Oh, Barry, Gary, thank you guys. Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed it.
You're welcome.
And so have we. And to the listener, I say, thank you for being here, and always dance and sing, and let the music bring your soul to the surface for all the world to see. Until next time, have a shuffle your feet kind of week. And good night. You've been listening to This House of Musicians radio show on Reality Radio 101.